Welcome to the Peachy Sunflower. My name is Kat. I'm your host, and today I brought on Steven again. So, Steven, thank you so much for coming back.
No problem.
How many times have you done this with me before?
This is our second time.
Second time, yes. So I do know that. I just like to tease you. But we did something.
I can't count.
I know you can't count. Yeah, that's good. We did spooky season last time, and we launched that in September. And some people are like, "Why would you launch that in September when October is more the spooky season?" And it was because we did mention on that last podcast that you had a show back in September.
Yep.
So first, how did that go?
It went good. It was I just think because of the time placement, it wasn't as busy, but can't really complain. He is, pretty set up for me. So
Yeah,
I got to get my business out, and I actually got lucky. And William gave me 2 tables.
Oh, well, thank you, William.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
So yeah. A lot of room to display, which I'm not used to. I'm used to cramming everything onto a 6-foot table, so having 12 feet was very different because everything I literally took with me was almost on the table.
Yes. And when we did the spooky season episode, we had a different angle. So if you watch on YouTube, obviously if you're listening, I completely appreciate that on Spotify or any other podcast thing. But if you ever are wondering what our background looks like or what, like, who you're listening to looks like, I can promise we're not supermodels, you know.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know, right? I said supermodel. I did a different angle in his room this time because then you can kind of see more of the horror stuff that we talk about. And of course, like, my favorite person's behind me. So I like this thing a little bit better. So if you're watching on YouTube, you get to see the different angle. If you've not watched Spooky or listened to Spooky Season, please check that out, because in that episode, we talked about how we were going off to Orlando October 13th through, I went there 13th through the 15th. Steven got to stay longer. And we were going to talk about what we did during Halloween Horror Nights. I also noticed in this episode, I talked a lot, which is normal to you because I just talk. Oh. And we just talk back and forth. We both run our mouths. If anybody says we talk too much, it's to each other because we just, like,
when you
share so much in common.
When you lived in Virginia, gosh, I wish I could pull up our hour. Is you're by yourself at first.
I was.
And out here, for the first few months, I think we were talking to each other 2 hours a day almost. Yeah. One time we did it for an hour, 2 hours a day for a week straight. And honestly, I think that was that's when we probably did our most Harry Potter talks.
Yeah, and we did have a lot of Harry Potter talks. So, because you and I do good at this and we enjoy it. Yeah. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite you again, and I know you're not going to say no, to come back and we'll talk about all things Harry Potter. I know you and I will mention it when we're talking about the parks because we got to be present for something. So we want to acknowledge that. But first off, I want you, because you got to stay longer, I want you, and you said that you're going to pull out your phone, start off by telling us the houses that were present at Halloween Horror Nights 2022. So, I also want you, so they don't miss out, Steven recreated a drink that we got to drink at Halloween Horror Nights 2022. The color. I don't know, it tastes pretty close to what we drank. These lights up. So these are one of our fun souvenirs that we got. So you got to do more of the food. I got to do the drink. So we'll be able to kind of combine and compare. So I want you to start off and talk to me about all the houses and what was your favorite. Then we'll do food, tips and tricks, scare zones. And we'll kind of stick to strictly Halloween Horror Nights, but we'll throw in some of our Universal stuff as well. So after you.
I'm going to think on the top of my head, and then I'll pull out my phone, which I have them ranked. There was The Weekend, Halloween 1978, Horrors of Blumhouse, which had Freaky and Black Phone in it. Then Universal Legends, Monsters Collide. Then that was the 4 property ones. And then they had Dead Man's Pier, Winter's Lake, Bug House, Descent into Destruction, Hellblock Horror, Fiesta de la Tucabra, and Spirit of the Coven.
Okay.
And then scare zones, I can't name them off the top of my head because, they're fun, but there's a graveyard one, a Halloween one, which was all of them sort of put together.
Yeah.
And then there's a Mr. Sweets. And then there was a Viking or witchcraft one, I guess it'd be.
I think it was part of the Coven stuff too.
Yeah.
It was very confusing. Scare Zone.
And then what was the other one? I want to say, I'm probably forgetting one. I think there's 5.
The farm.
The farmhouse.
The farm, yeah.
The Scarecrow.
Yes. Scarecrow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you listed all the houses. So there was 8 or 9?
10 houses.
10 houses total. I got to go to 4 of those.
Before you went to 4.
4.
And you got to do every scare zone.
4 houses in every scare zone. And the reason for not going to the other houses was a lot of the wait. We were getting exhausted. We ended up going to a show as well, which we'll talk about. And honestly, the ones that we went through were kind of the ones we wanted to touch on. The only one that I was kind of sad that I did miss was the Blumhouse. And that's because I had just watched Black Phone, so I wanted to see how they kind of recreated it. Yeah. I was not scared during Black Phone. I didn't flinch during Black Phone. It kind of made my mind go a little weird. And then during the movie Freaky, which is another Blumhouse, whatever it's called, movie, I was laughing during that. So I think the reason I wanted to go to the house is to see if they actually made it scary or if they kind of kept the comical side to it. Yeah. So since you listed the 10 houses, you said they were going to pull out, you ranked them.
I ranked them.
Because I am curious, what was your favorite and what was your least favorite?
I think I'll start at the bottom because it's going to be easier for... And I actually have this with this because I was down there and I heard a person, and I sort of found it funny, and I did this little homework when I came home. They're talking about different horror genres.
Oh.
For movies. We talked about different horror. And I was like, there can't be that many. I will literally, when I got home, I was like, I looked it up and I listed, there's over 20, you can name off like 20 different horror genres.
I could have thought of maybe 3 or 4, but not 20.
Supernatural, slasher, splatter, which is gore, body, science fiction, zombie, vampire, foreign, natural, psychological, comedy, musical, which is funny as a musical is now considered a genre in horror. Yeah.
What kind of... So would Rocky Horror Picture Show be considered that then? And that would explain why it was there when Mom and I went to the Halloween Horror Nights. It was there.
Yeah. Like Sweeney Todd, Repo the Genetic Opera, Little Shop of Horror, Ain't in the Apocalypse. Okay. Yeah. Monster, found footage, mystery, thrillers, B-list, cult. Like, I was just like, wow, okay.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And it's funny because there's certain ones I'm drawn to that I like more than others.
And that's not even listing all of them. I was like,
that's crazy.
Because that was off a person's list online. I was just like, wow, okay. Wow. Okay, so number 10, I had Hell Block of Horror.
I didn't go to that. That was the prison one. And didn't someone warn us about that at dinner?
Yeah, that one. So it was not. None of them were truly bad. I didn't go through and it's like, oh god, this house sucked. Well, actually, I take that back. I did say that on my first night when I was after you guys left. It's like, man, some of these houses sucked. And it was because I waited longer.
Right. So you were crammed up against people, right?
And here's the thing is, I stayed till the park closed. I was able to get to every house. And I was start doing Stay and Scream till 2 a.m. But I also went to the show, took food breaks, went to drink. And I honestly, I had a plan, but yeah. So... Hell Block of Horror, I did not enjoy either time I went. There's a fine house, but honestly, it serves as something you see both like, oh, a prison, okay. It just like, okay, you're going to the prison, oh, prison outbreak.
Right.
It was just all monsters. And I felt like, and it was cool to see, from what people said, monsters from the past, old houses, which I guess all the ones they had were ones that I have never seen. Because, I mean... And it just was a lot of flashing light, a lot of just scream, and it was okay. But it felt like it's something you would see at your local amusement park.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Number 9 was Descent into Destruction,
which I did that one, and that was on the bottom of my 4 list. That I was like, nah.
And it was fun. It was a good. I like that they took you through a subway. It had a story.
It had a story. I give it credit that one had a story,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't
scare. The scare.
Thank you.
And that's where, and I went through both times. One time, I got all the scare actors, and the second time, which was on my second night, I didn't have all the scare actors. First time was a lot more enjoyable. Second time wasn't as enjoyable, and I think that's why I had it lower, because I remember when we went through there that first time, that guy took that, he had a cattle prod, and he went on the fence, and it shot the sparks out. I was like, oh, and that gave me a good little jump scare, and I don't jump scare very well. Number 8, The Weeknd. So
it's that far down?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know a lot of people like the house. It wasn't that it was a terrible house. It was very psychedelic. And if you're a fan of The Weeknd, I can understand where you like it. I'm not the biggest Weeknd fan. I like that the music was going through.
That was the cool part of it.
And then I think, to me, it also had one that my second, honestly, probably my third favorite things, which this coolest character thing, I wish it was more evident, was they had a person up, and I wish they did more throughout the house, was a person who was in a bodysuit that was matching the wallpaper, because they reached out and tried to grab you, and they had a perfect spot, and it made it look like they're, and that to me was probably the coolest thing. But other than that, I was like, okay, it's just a house. I mean, nothing that really. Number 7, Spirit of the Coven.
Okay.
And that one, I will admit, first time I went through it, I hated it. I was like, this is, honestly, I almost would have had it below Weekend, Descend, Destruction. It was just, I was like, oh my god, this house is terrible. And then on my second night, I went through, all the scare actors were there. And oh my gosh, and that's where the thing is, these houses, it's worth going through if you can twice sometimes, because you'll get the scare actor sometimes and you won't get, because man, that second time all the scare actors were there. I don't know if they just got off of a break, or because man, they were it scared you and everything. Number 6 was Horrors of Blumhouse.
Okay.
And so you wanted to, Freaky was what you went through first. It takes you right through the beginning of the movie, where you're in that house and everything. And it's Vince Vaughn's character. And I know they can't have everybody look like, but try to get somebody Vince Vaughn's a tall dude. I think he's like 6 foot. Hold on. How tall is Vince Vaughn?
Vince Vaughn is 6 feet 5 inches.
Oh, I thought I knew he was like 6 foot. I didn't know he was that tall.
So yeah, I mean, when you have a guy, I'm 5'9"-ish, 5'10" on a good day. I mean, that's a doctor. Yeah, like, so I'm not the tallest dude. So a 6'5" dude is gonna. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna get scared when somebody's the same height as me. I know it's supposed to be a guy here is imposing dude. 6'5" dude compared to a 5'10" dude is very different.
Well, and I know that they are struggling for entertainment.
Yeah.
And with Universal, there are tall actors, but I think they keep them for certain things.
They're using them in the Halloween house, because there is a lot taller hair.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is that
because they only had them pop out like 3 times.
Oh, in the Halloween house, yeah. So then
in the Freaky one, Vince Vaughn's character only pops out like 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
So it takes you to the girl. I think I'm great. They found a lot of girls who with that wig and they look just like her with the lighting and all. It was fun. They had sort of the parts of the movie playing through, so you just heard. But it wasn't the scariest. And like, I think the coolest thing about it was you got done with the Freaky house, you went to the Blumhouse, so you went to Black Phone, and you got 2 houses. And I will agree with what the one person said. Black Phone just doesn't work that great as a house. Because you think about it, if you watch the movie, it literally takes place in 3 places: the school, the basement / the guy's house, and then the kid's house.
Yeah.
So they literally took you from the school to the basement to escaping out the house, back down to the basement. Yeah. And then out. So it was fun. It was okay, but like I would say, nothing really rememberable about Blumhouse.
Okay.
Fiesta de Chupacabra. That one was just fun. Like, it was a fun one.
Did I get to do
No,
that?
you did not.
No. We walked right by it and we're going to do it, and the line was
60 minutes.
Yeah. And so we went to the show.
Yeah. So, Fiesta was fun. It was, very cultural, like, that culture it worked into it so well. Like, you come in, you walk in, they're doing fireworks, sound effects, you're going, and it just takes you to the, like, oh, this is actually fun, and then it just takes a quick turn. The thing, though, I'm gonna say this, and honestly, it might have moved down, was the Chupacabra was a little funny. It literally looked like they took the werewolf from American Werewolf and just put some, like, saber tooth on it, because it didn't have the reptilian. It looked more like a werewolf with long teeth. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. One of the reasons it stuck out with me is it had that smell thing.
Oh.
So they took you through a part where they're cooking up humans, sort of like they did in Descent of Destruction. You know, they had
that smell,
but it was a little stronger. And then I was like, oh, this is fun. Like, and that's what stuck. That was a fun. Number 4, Bugs Eaten Alive. And the reason that one, I know a lot of people actually have that one lower on theirs. That one was so funny to me. It was just so outrageous. That's why it wasn't the jump scares. It was nothing. I think it told a great story.
Oh, not a great story.
It was just.
I think the scare actors were extremely committed in there too, from what I experienced compared to the other scare actors. And I almost think you're right. Is they're making up for the comedic side of it, because it started like a 1950s kind of housewife, advertising something, and then she screamed bloody murder, and you turn the corner and like everything's infested. Mm-hmm. But what I noticed about this house, and I forgot to ask you, did you notice it smelled like bug killer?
Yeah.
It was hard to, I don't want to say it was hard to breathe, but it was like making you feel like you were there with the bugs. And it somehow, they made you feel like they were crawling on you. I don't know if they put vibration in the wall or if they put it on their feet.
They did that little air burst.
Like air, and so that was a lot of it.
Yeah, that one was, I enjoyed that one because I was laughing through it. And I enjoyed it both times. That's why. Number 3, I actually had my number 3 lower, but this second night made up. And oh my gosh, this was one of those ones where you got the scare actors and you guys got right where you weren't seeing it happen, or you weren't missing it. Mm-hmm. Which that happened to a lot of the houses. Like, I'll talk. That's why my number 1 and number 2 are why they are, because I got lucky. The one night I was in front, so I missed him, but everyone behind me was getting so scared. But number 3 was Universal Monsters Legends Collide. And that one, the first one was fun. I enjoyed it. That's where you accidentally slapped. We both got hit.
I got hit, and that score actor, like, they stay, you guys understand, they really do stay in character. But I'm pretty sure, too, that if they hit someone, they are instinctively having to say sorry because they don't know how that person's going to react. So they're probably used to people trying to knock them out. So they kind of know how to do that. But when they turn and they're doing their thing and they hit somebody, it's completely opposite.
And that's where I was noticing when I went through, because I went through twice. I got to see sort of, they try to keep everyone sort of in a closed area so they don't overextend or do that. And what happened was the werewolf, he just reached out and his fingernail just touched your face.
Yeah, right there.
And Dracula turned his cape and I got hit in the face. I was like, oh, right cabinet. And the freaking werewolf came out and got me. And that's what happened twice. I got hit. That werewolf got me twice. So good. So that was really where it was fun. Was just like, and then, the jump scares were more of what made that one fun for me. And I did like the story. Number 2 is Halloween. And that one, it followed the movie very well, except the last room where so many Michael Myers. Just like, they had tall ones, like, they had mannequins and they're all tall, but they had ones that moved. And that one did a good job of, like, scaring you. Like they did good
They
jumps.
gotta dedicate.
Yeah.
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, the Halloween Ends movie came out.
Yeah.
And they had dedicated somehow.
I feel sorry for anyone who's watched it.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fell asleep to wake back up. Is that just tell you the gist? Anybody that's listening, you haven't watched it, and you're like, oh, but I really like Halloween, watch it. Prepare for...
Watch... I hate to say this. You can skip the first hour.
Yep. Yeah, because I fell asleep within the first hour, and I woke back up to some of it, and then I actually fell asleep at the end to where I had to ask Chris, like, is it finally done? And he was like, oh, yeah, it is done.
The best part, like, it gets good from the, I'm going to say, the Batman and Robin kill.
Okay. Yeah.
That's where I would compare, because I don't want to give spoilers, but it's the Batman and Robin kill is the best one. And then when the one Robin tries to become Batman's when it really gets good.
Okay.
That's what I would say got a lot better.
All right.
And if you watched Halloween 3, you sort of see where they went with Halloween Ends. It's, I don't want to get spoilers, it just came out, but if you're on TikTok, just look it up. People explain it 20 times better.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good one. Halloween was probably, but my favorite was definitely Dead Man's Pier, Winter Wake.
Okay, and that's the lady at Landers, which will you guys
Lombardo's.
Lombards. We'll have to tell you that funny story. Who? Lombards told us to go if we had the time because it was ranked up there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we listened to her advice though because we did get through 4 haunted houses so quickly before the show, and then she was kind of correct because we went to the show during the busy time and we did come back out, and there was one house that was like a 30-minute wait, and I was like, I really just still don't want to wait 30 minutes for this. Let's get a drink and go to scare zones. And we were enjoying the scare zones.
Oh, yeah.
I will say, okay, so this is from going to 3 of them. Mm-hmm. You've gone to 2 now. And the 3 I've been to, these scare zones were better than my first Halloween Horror Nights scare zones. Mm-hmm. They were not as good as the ones you and I went to.
No.
With Mom. The houses, though, the 4 I went into, were equally better than ones that we went to with Mom. And definitely better than the ones that Nicole and I went to.
Yeah.
But the thing with Nicole and I's Haunted, like Halloween Horror Nights, is the show was good. And I'm not saying that show wasn't good. I think it was just I was not ready for what was going to happen. So we've gone through the haunted houses. We'll touch on scare zones now. So I guess my favorite one was the Sweet Treats, the Mr. Sweet Treats. So it's kind of set like, this old school meat, like vans that sold meat out of it in the 50s, 60s, that like older.
They sold the candy.
They sold the candy and things like that, like old school, classy, fun. Everyone could go out in the neighborhood, wouldn't have to worry. But then it kind of turned dark, and the costumes they had, I think, were strange, but they weren't scary. But I want to say the reason I like that scare zone is it was spread out. Mm-hmm. It had like these 3 floats they used. And I know those are floats from Mardi Gras that they revamped for Halloween Horror Nights. Like, I know that because I've seen them at the Mardi Gras, and I've seen those floats used in the Christmas too, and they just revamp them. And so it was cool because it was so spread out, and there was a van at the end. So it was such this long stretch of a scare zone that it was nice because you could walk around and kind of see different characters or even some of the same characters.
Yeah.
However, what made me very mad about that scare zone, and it's actually all the scare zones except the one, they would not stop to take photos.
No.
And that is my biggest complaint from this Halloween Horror Nights. I understand if you hear my mom yelling, she's yelling at the dogs to stop barking. But I understand that COVID happened in the pandemic, but if you're opening the park like you pretty much have, there's no mask restriction, I don't understand why these actors aren't stopping for photos. And to tell people to turn off their flashes or lights when they're recording. That was another thing that made me kind of like, wait a minute, I paid all this money for this experience. I should be able to take photos. I should be able to record and enjoy that time with it because I want to relive it or show it on something that I'm talking about. And that's the hardest part. Did we get photos? Yes. But you guys, all these photos that we have with these scare actors
are not good.
They're really bad. They're dark and you can barely see anything. And the photos that like we got during Halloween Horror Nights,
some of them are dark.
Some of them are really dark. And I think that's the thing is like looking back is like the ones with Nicole, all of our pictures are like they lit stuff up more so people could take pictures with the Halloween Horror Nights sign. They could see the scare zone behind people, but it still looked like you were in Halloween Horror Nights.
That's what I want to talk about is somebody went to it twice. And that's something that really was a little, because I went to it the 2020, the 2010 one, the 20th anniversary.
20th anniversary, yeah.
The houses were a lot brighter then.
Yes.
There wasn't as much strobe lights.
Or fog.
I don't mind the fog.
I get the fog. It's not that it bothered me. It was, when they didn't have so much of it, I could see things.
Yeah.
And I actually felt like I got more scared because I could see it.
Yeah.
Compared to like someone like, oh, you got through this far. Like you're waiting for it.
So the two houses to me that should not have been that light because it takes place sort of at night was Halloween.
Yes.
Halloween and I think that's honestly why they're probably my top two was Dead Man's Pier. Dead Man's Pier takes place at night on a pier.
Was it lighter than all the other houses? You know what the house I felt was the darkest of the four I went through was definitely the Weekend. And you know what? This is what I have to say about the Weekend one. It was good. I didn't mind it and the music. But I'll never go to one of his concerts now.
Yeah.
Because it was messed up. And it wasn't even like a mind mess up. It was like where are you getting these strange ideas and do you do this at your concerts? And how did you get into the horror stuff? Because your music doesn't really sound horror related.
And that's the thing.
And so it was like a clash of worlds that I was like, this is enjoyable, but it's not.
So if you and Danielle didn't get to see it because they weren't playing it on the back walls like they were at the other ones, is they were showing music videos of what actually sort of set up part of that thing.
Okay. But I've seen it.
But it wasn't like they didn't bring it. But the light thing, yes. I mean, the scare zones, none of them were really light, and I think the ones we went through that when it was light were enjoyable. We got out of that's the thing is we didn't really get to experience any of the scare zones your first night when it was light out. I got to experience two of the scare zones when it was light out when I went my second night.
I don't think it would have made a difference because I remember when Mom, you and I went, and there was that one scare zone that was the fairy tale characters.
Yeah.
And we have the coolest photos
we had
with all these characters.
The little pig.
We had like all these pictures.
The Red Queen.
Yeah. And we got really good photos. And for some reason,
I think our best photos was the fear icons was when they had Jack, they had the director, and that's the thing is that they were all they were allowing hey, he's like you sit there and say, hey, can I get a photo? You could tell they weren't the happiest, but they would be willing, and that's what happened. My second night was when I was in that witch area. They actually were. There was one guy who was willing to take the photos, but he wasn't.
Are you talking about? So this is where the scare zone confused me. So guys, like when you walk in, when you walk in that French entrance, you directly hit a scare zone.
You hit Pumpkin
Lord, and it says Halloween Horror Nights, and there's Pumpkin Lord. There's also a Wicked Witch, but she's on stilts, and there's another creepy guy that's Scarecrow, like on stilts, and it was those three in there. And
then you had tiny
things that were hidden away, and they'd pop out at you. And that's where people wanted the photo, but it was so dark you couldn't get a photo.
The only area you could get a photo during that whole thing was with the Pumpkin Lord. I got Pumpkin Lord. I think that's where I got the best photos.
I would say I turned and did a selfie with Pumpkin Lord. There was another area where I will say that we got good photos, and I don't know if you were there or if it was when Daniel and I were walking out of the park. So when you come
it was the graveyard.
Yeah, the graveyard. I got good photos there.
It was the stupidest scare zone.
It was really boring.
I mean,
it was just like there was one girl. I will give her credit.
It was
she was dedicated.
The one with the skull and the wings. Like, she looked like a great...
Yes, and she looked like a statue. And I walked up, being 100% honest, guys. I didn't see the breathing or anything. It was dark. But I walked up thinking that it didn't move. And so I'm like, oh, this is cool. Just take a photo. And it moved. And that scare zone, although it wasn't scary...
Catherine.
Uh-oh.
Your video ended.
Oh my God. Did it just end?
Yeah, hold on, let me see here. Yeah. Uh-oh. Well, I guess we're going to start a video here. You might have to put two together.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Just a heads up, and I'm hoping this works and Chris can figure it out. Or we're just not going to have a video on YouTube. Let's put a bunch of photos. The video went out. We don't know where it went out. And we're getting to 30 minutes on this, which I usually cap off at 45. And we have not too much more to talk about, but a good amount. But Steven just caught this one going out, and I have no idea when it went out. So we'll figure that out. But we talked about the scare zones, and I think it is what it is. You got what we got. There was the Coven scare zone that I was not interested in, but I do give that Sweet Treats one kind of credit. It was spread out. It was pretty cool. The farm one was very interesting.
I think the thing that made me the farm one is I walked through it 3 times. Because I walked through it in the day, and it was short. I think that's where everyone else, like the pumpkin lures in that one felt short, where everyone else's just felt like the graveyard felt like it went on forever. Same with Mr. Sweet. So even the witch one, which it felt like it went a little. And that's the thing is, like, I remember the scare zone that stick. Like, I remember when we went the Fear Icons, the Fairy Tale, the Mardi Gras. The Mardi Gras one was phenomenal. When we went that 20, oh my gosh, and that would be when they would want to bring a scare zone back. I would not be opposed to that.
Yeah,
that one was fun. But yeah, that was good. And I got to do the character dining, which I'm gonna say this. I still gotta get that photo downloaded. I keep forgetting. I do have a free photo with either the Mummy or Michael Myers. It was fun. Don't get me wrong. I overate, which I think that sort of what made that second night not as fun because I overate and I was like, I just felt like crumb, which I ate a ton I went through and I had
you didn't eat much on that first night when we ended up getting what?
I didn't get any, I did not get any food that second night. So that tells you how much I overate.
Okay.
Yeah, but so that sort of made the night as not as fun. But I noticed that's I think where I noticed more. Oh, hey, scare actors, this made it fun. And that's why I didn't want to use my fast pass if I didn't have to, because I wanted to try to hit some houses 2 times, but I ended up using it because I didn't get done with my dinner till about 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And the reason it took me so long was I paid that much money. I wanted to make sure I got my money's worth with the food, the photo, and I wanted the character actors to. And here's the thing: is I understand a single person by themselves is not going to be as fun to go to a table, but you got to make sure you pay attention.
So here's your Disney princess talking. Do you want to know? Well, I shouldn't say princess, but character entertainment talking here. Who do you think I paid attention to?
The single people. Because
why do you think that is?
Because they're the ones who are going to have the most fun and enjoy it.
Thank you.
And
that's not saying that Universal is wrong in that, and they don't know customer service or how to entertain.
They ended it again.
What the fudge? Uh-oh.
Oh, is your thing maybe?
Oh no, am I full?
You're full.
Shit. How am I fucking full?
I don't know. I mean, I could try doing mine, but I don't want to trace it there.
Just pass this to me. Oh my fucking god. What the fuck?
Well, we're having camera issues right now.
Oh my god. Yes, we're having camera issues. Uno momento. Can I pause this? Yes, I will. Be back momentarily. Technical difficulties. All right. So we're going to try to get this camera back. I had to pause recording on the device, got the camera back. I swear I am cursed this last month with technical difficulties. We don't know if this is going to record it much longer. I have iCloud backup storage. So Apple, if you're listening, fix your stuff because I pay for it to not do this.
Yeah.
Anyways, if you're watching on YouTube, it might have cut out and Chris is going to try to have to splice it. We'll probably have to throw in photos. All else fails, we'll figure it out. And there it goes again.
Okay, this makes no sense.
Nope.
Yeah, it's not even letting you.
It's not even letting us record.
Huh. I don't know if I can do it with mine.
You can do it with yours. You're just gonna have to airdrop it to like my.
We're gonna sit here and try to get mine connected.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna pause the game. We're gonna try to get Steven's connected. We'll see how this goes. I am so sorry for anybody listening. Just on the thing and not watching YouTube. And if it doesn't work, we're just gonna nix this and we'll have audio and a lot of photos on YouTube.
Okay, so let's see here.
Momentarily technical difficulties. I feel like I want to be like one of those spokespeople, like, excuse me, we have technical difficulties.
Don't talk to me about the void. Don't.
All right, let's keep going again. All right, we're gonna try Steven's phone. Maybe it's a my phone thing. That's karma for me not getting a new phone. I was supposed to before we went, and I didn't. I think mine is oldest of the bunch besides...
Maybe mine.
Yours. How old's yours?
I think I have a 12.
Oh, no, I have an 11.
Okay.
So, yeah, I am the oldest bunch, which is fine.
Which is rare.
Fine with it, which is rare, because I'm usually the one that demands the new one. And
I have the old one.
And you keep the old one, and I am so behind, which is completely fine, but maybe this is just... Anyways, hope this works. So, probably gonna miss a few minutes of video. Completely fine. We will pick up where we had finished talking about the scare zones. We have talked about the haunted houses. You are finishing up your character.
Yeah. So
meal.
Yeah, it was. I don't think the person who did from Mr. Sweets ever came over.
Oh, okay.
I had two of the Coven ladies come over. The one, and that's the thing is, I saw videos of it online. I don't know if they got in trouble for talking to the people or not, because
So is it a little bit different than for example?
Oh, totally different than any Disney ones.
Yeah, because they talk.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Or they interact.
That's the thing is, it was fun, but you can tell they were paying attention to the people with bigger parties.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I'm trying to pull something up here to show her. Because it does go into what we're going to talk about here soon.
Okay. So that's kind of wrapping.
Yeah.
Oh, the only thing we did not mention about Halloween Horror Nights, because we had differing opinions about it, was the show. And Danielle's going to get a laugh when she's listening to this. So Danielle and I are both moms. We are not naive moms. We are not prude moms. Trust me on that. I will not get into details how people can know we are not prude moms. But I don't know if it was because of just where we were. I was uncomfortable. They were wearing what I would call bondage, which you can't say it wasn't because it was leather and there had chains and it was bondage.
It was a burlesque. The best way is
that was not burlesque.
It was a more extreme version of burlesque. It was
extreme burlesque, but it was bondage burlesque.
They show nipple and ass in burlesque. They did not show.
What burlesque show are you watching? I'm talking about the one with Christina Aguilera and
the French burlesque shows. Have you
Moulin Rouge does not show nipple.
Have you not watched freaking National Lampoon's European Vacation?
I don't watch that stupid shit. They exaggerate everything. People getting their stuff off in apple pies and National Lampoon and stuff like that. I don't watch that. No, I do watch it, but no.
Yeah.
No. Here's the thing. I think it was the environment I'm in. I was just uncomfortable because I was looking around and there was itty bitty kids. Like kids that range from 4 to 13. And I understand 13-year-olds are hitting that hump of going in, so they're going to get some type of enjoyment. I think even 10-year-olds. I think Danielle's son would have been like, yeah, let's go.
Mason would have been a little
Mason would have been a little confused, but been like, "Oh, boobs. Oh, butt." Like,
yeah.
What?
And that's the thing is
they know, and
I think I guess I looked so much, which is weird because I mean, trust me, I noticed it. I was not that. I wasn't. I think I was just more fascinated with them, like how technical they were doing. They were dancing, and it was extreme dance, like, and that stuff's.
There was dancing that was technical, as in I was very fascinated.
Yeah,
how she did the pole.
The pole,
and the people doing the ring, and the ballroom dancing, that was technically dancing, and it was good. I was like that part of it. I like the pyro. It was the
erotica part.
The erotica part of like them dry humping, and then like the guys that when that girl spread her legs and he went like this, like he licked up through there, and then like the people that had paid that, it wasn't the one you did, it was above that, the RIP.
They were front row.
They were front row, and it was like they got a lap dance pretty much from the one person. And again, it was art. I don't know what these people did in their prior life or what they do in their off time, but
they do that. I think they do that all year.
They might do it all year. They could. They probably travel and do it, and that's great for them. But sometimes we question where they came from because of certain things. But then at other times, you could see like there was 2 or 3 of these girls that kind of were uncomfortable in the movements compared to others. And I almost wondered
if they were the
backups. Or, and I could be wrong about this, Universal could have used their own entertainment people to come into that show to step in, so the people that do it all the time can get can get breaks. And I could see that, and that's great. I just felt like all these other people were deeply into it, and it was like this whole erotica thing where there was like 3 that just looked like, I hate to say this, but when I was in better shape, looked like if I was dancing that stuff, because as we know, I do like the musical theater, Disney kind of stuff. I don't do erotica, but it almost looked like if I had been forced to do that. And that's what was hard to watch. It was like watching those 2 or 3 girls that were reminded if I had been forced to do that, it was like, you don't look comfortable and you don't look happy.
No.
It was a decent show, and that's it.
I got to watch it twice. I think it was more the second time I noticed something. I mean, I was like, okay, this is, but yeah, it was a little extreme. I'm sort of upset we did miss the goal show, the one that happened on the water, hurricane.
The hurricane happened and it took it out. I'm glad we were told that it was taken out before we stood there and waited. So before we went to the Haunted Houses, we did stay and scream. So when we got there from the airport, we went over to City Walk and had a lunch that was not so great. The food was cold. The kitchen was bad. The server, I gave her credit. She was great. She was on top of it. She's doing everything she could. The manager was doing everything she could, but the kitchen was failing that restaurant. And being that I had ate that restaurant prior and it was amazing, I wanted to go back. I don't want to name the restaurant because I understand all restaurants have bad days. And kitchens have bad days. And so it's really hard, and that kitchen was new. So I give them credit because they came back and gave us 50% off our meal. They did not have to do that, but they did it because we waited so long and our food was cold.
And I will give that waitress credit. She even gave us a warning when we asked.
Yeah.
And she goes, hey, listen up. I can't. I was like, this kitchen sucks today. Like, you can tell she was a veteran waitress because she sat there and she's like, I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry and everything. And she was awesome.
She was awesome. And so we tipped her really well, even off getting the 50% off.
Yeah.
So when we went to our next area, I had chosen this place because you could stay in there, and it's hard to get a reservation in there. And I really wanted to eat it because I had never been.
Yeah.
And so we did Lombards. And I don't mind calling them out because the manager made up for what happened. When we sat down, we had a reservation for $3.45. The Stay and Scream, you could get in line starting at 5:15. You can get 5 o'clock. Probably even before that. We did not get into the line until 5:15. I was
trying to get as much stuff done before I had to go to my dinner, and they were lining people up at 4 o'clock.
Well, that's great.
I was like, why would you sit there and wait in line for 4?
We wanted to eat.
Enjoy your last hour in the park.
Right. So, like, we wanted to eat so that we were eating before the event so we could do some houses and then eat through the event if we wanted to eat. I was so full I didn't want to eat, but he got to taste the food. So did Danielle. So I have her review for her to speak up about hers. But anyways, we had a server, and I don't even think it was she who was having a bad day, friends. Because I've had bad days being a server, and I still had never done this bad of a job. It was bad. She rolled her eyes. She huffed and puffed. She was stomping around. She was being really inconsiderate and rude. It was really, really bad. So much so that Danielle actually got up from the table for what I 100% thought she was going to the bathroom because she was getting so mad. And I thought she was just stepping away to take a breather. Well, as I'm sitting there with Steven and we're waiting for stuff, she texts me and says, if anything else happens, let me know. And I'm like, okay, well, seriously, after she sent that, it was not even...
That waitress came...
It was like right out the door, this waitress comes thinking she's back. And I don't know if she heard me say, oh, Danielle. And then this lady's like, oh, let me come back and bug her. And I'm like texting her. I'm like, well, this is what happened. She rolled her eyes. She was huffing him. Like, this is what she said. This is what she did. It was just like, we're trying to communicate with her what's going on.
Yeah.
And it was just one thing after the other. And
I love that she sat there and waited at the door because
she waited at the door.
The second Danielle stepped down, she's like, okay, have you decided what you want for dessert?
Danielle's like, I haven't finished my drink. And that was what I asked to do. Yeah. And Danielle did say, I want to finish my drink and then I will happily order dessert. And she was trying to finish her drink and she didn't because this lady just kept interrupting and being really rude and inconsiderate. She also left plates of food that were completely finished.
That's what made me...
And I'm sitting here like, oh, you've come back to the table 4 times and this is still sitting here.
Yeah.
That's the first thing as a waitress I did was clear plates away from people to let them enjoy their space. Second thing is, we had to get someone else to get us water.
Yeah.
And I understand it's water. We didn't drink something because we were going to go drink at Halloween Horror Nights. And I didn't want to wait for a drink after the situation Danielle was waiting on.
Oh my gosh.
But Danielle comes back up and goes, oh, I took care of it. And we're like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, friends. Danielle took care of it. She talked to the manager. The manager was so apologetic that she came up and said, dessert's on me. What would you guys like for dessert? And we're like, well, you don't have to do that. Like, it's fine. I can pay for my own dessert. She's like, no, we'll get dessert. And I'm like, okay, fine. That kind of makes up for this. That makes up for the server. The food was immaculate and the atmosphere amazing. And it was very clean in there. So it was just the server. And 100%.
I think also it did not help was the server that was right next to us was freaking phenomenal.
That dude, shout out to him.
Because it's said that he was in there doing everything right, and we had a server who was doing everything wrong. And Catherine can sit here and testify this. I'm probably, of people in our family, I'm the most patient when it comes to retail and food service and everything. I'm very patient. I can sit here and it takes a lot to piss me off, and I don't know where it comes from because I can also have a short temper. But that was driving me to the edge of where I want to say something, and that's bad. If I want to say something, you know it is.
If
bad.
You or I are gonna say something, it's bad. And we were getting pushed to our limits, and I think Danielle just finally was like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna deal with this. Now Danielle works as a manager in food and beverage, so she knows what should be going on, so that's why she was able to talk it through. But we ended up having a whole meal comped, which
should not have happened.
It shouldn't have happened. So shout out to that manager at Lombard's because she took care of everything and she didn't even have to do that, but it did help, and this is just in my opinion, it did help that when she did that, I had the extra money to kind of get drinks around the park. And the blue electric, my favorite.
You had...
and the bog was good, because I had sips of both of y'all's bog. The bog was good. So the bog, I really like that. The electric blue. But that gold juice was bleh. So guys, the gold juice was so bad, I handed it off to Danielle. I was like, I cannot drink
So I
this.
had a sip of the gold juice, and at first I was like, man, this is actually really good.
It was the aftertaste.
And then I'm like, because Catherine had Electric Death first, and Daniel had Gold Juice, and then they switched. Then the next one
we switched so that we could,
and then I had that Gold Juice. I was like, oh, this actually tastes better than that Electric Death. And then I'm sitting there like, wait, actually, this isn't that good.
It was the after taste of it. Like, as you kept drinking it and walking, you're like, oh, it just keeps getting worse. Yeah. And it was bad. And then your electric coolers.
So I had what's called an lacto cooler. It's a sort of like a fruity. It's a sour IPA. I guess the best way to describe it would be like a green Jolly Rancher.
Okay. Yeah.
It's sort of like, but it's really good. I mean, I wish they sold it out here. I'd buy it, but
oh yeah, I would too.
They sat there. It's from Philadelphia. They bought all the cases for that event, and then I had what's the Bog.
The Bog was good.
I liked that one. That was my first sip of alcohol in 10 months, so I don't drink.
Yeah,
I don't drink at all. And then I had one my second night where it was like, I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was like a lemony sort of thing. It was okay, but I mean, it was fine. It was better than that Gold Juice. I'll say that.
All right. What about food? Favorite one and least favorite one?
Are we talking about my whole trip or just Halloween Horror Nights?
No, just Halloween Horror Nights. Because your least favorite, I'm sure, was probably cowfish because it was cold.
Let's see. Food-wise at Halloween Horror Nights, since I ate that buffet, I'm gonna include stuff in that. I think my least favorite thing from all the food I had was definitely the black linguine. Like it's some like
it doesn't even sound appetizing.
It was not that great, and it had shrimp in it. It was. I'm a very picky on my shrimp. It was definitely previously frozen, not thawed out, cooked.
Ew.
So that was probably.
So it wasn't like the shrimp from Lombard's or Bubba Goom.
No, it was not. No, it wasn't as good. That's probably my least favorite thing I ate. I actually like the hummus, which I'm not a big hummus fan.
I like hummus when it's made right.
It was one of those ones that was actually made right. But food from the food stands, I had. I'm trying to sit here and think what I had. I had the maggot dog.
Ew.
Then I had it's a Korean hot dog with rice puffs, Sesame Street on it, with mozzarella stick. It was good. Biggest complaint, wish it was warmer. I'm very. Catherine can testify. My food has to be hot. I do not like lukewarm food. I don't like my food's warm. I'm fine. I can handle warm. But if it's lukewarm, I'm not the big fan. I had the Chuck E. Cheeseburger, which was a cheeseburger on a donut with pickled jalapenos and a strawberry sauce and Fruit Loops. It sounds disgusting. I wish I could pull the photo up on my phone, but it was actually tasted phenomenal. But the best thing I probably had Halloween Horror Night wise was definitely the fried Twinkie.
Okay.
Which
Danielle did not like her skull pepperoni thing. She was like, this was not good. I guess she said it was mushy and it didn't have like a texturized to it. So that was all the food from Halloween Horror Nights. I'll tell you that it's not Halloween Horror Nights related, but trip wise, I will say I will be visiting the ice cream place again in Diagon Alley.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Chucky.
Yes, that's gonna pull up here. But yeah, food wise, I mean, I ate a lot of different places. So Hogwarts, definitely. If you go to Universal, you're a Harry Potter fan, you gotta go to Ice Cream Alley in Diagon.
Yes.
Because here's what
ice cream.
Here's the thing: is it's only in the. It's only mentioned in 2 of the books.
Mm-hmm.
The third one, and the 6th book.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the 3rd book. It's when Harry stays there. He falls in love with the place. The owner befriends Harry very well, and he gives him free ice cream. And Harry's favorite ice cream is strawberry peanut butter, which it sounds like it'd be the nasty. It sounds like it'd be a terrible mixture. It is phenomenal.
Like my mouth is watering thinking about it. That is the best ice cream I've ever had.
Yeah,
and then butterbeer.
Oh, butterbeer is always good. I liked it a lot more this time than I did the first time, and I think it's because they figured out the recipe for the syrup.
I could have someone come in the comments and correct me if I'm wrong, but I overheard a cast member say this, and this is how. A guy asked, because when you and I went when it first opened, it was not that good, you guys. And I was kind of like, well, I got this more for the souvenir cup.
They should don't give it out if you list one.
It's so hard to get them now. But I got it more for the souvenir cup than I did for the beer, that butter beer itself. But I overheard because this guy's like, can I have more foam? And he was like, actually, the machine pumps out the butterbeer to a certain thing. And then the foam that comes with it, it comes out to a certain thing and pulls it. And they have to follow that recipe consistently or they can get in trouble. So if you're allergic or things like that, that kind of stuff, don't even try asking for a butterbeer. Yeah. Because I overheard the guy say, no, could that customer have been saying that because he didn't want to mess with more? Absolutely. Yeah. But I do think it's kind of cool they have their own recipe that they have to consistently follow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, food was awesome. Yeah. I mean, I could sit here.
We could probably do a whole podcast about food. Yeah. But because Harry Potter came up, that Steven and I do want to acknowledge, just because we're such huge Harry Potter fans, and Steven knows that he is one of my top 5 characters, so it was very hard. Yeah. I got the news. The news broke to me actually while I was inside Animal Kingdom.
And I was at
he was at Harry Potter World.
I was in line.
Like, in line.
I can't remember what I was in line for.
Harry Potter World, though.
I think I was on Velocicoaster.
And you were walking. Okay.
Yeah, I was at Velocicoaster in that line, and somebody goes, Hagrid passed away. I was like, what? And I pulled up and I was like, well, okay. Wow.
And I was at Animal Kingdom, and we were about to leave to go back to Universal. So when we hit back to Universal, we got there so that we could do the night with the Death Eaters, which we did. We get some pretty decent photos of that. Mine was a little funny because I had a Gryffindor on and that Death Eater wanted nothing to do with me. Even though I went like this. I'm like, oh, I'll surrender. Just, no. But they accepted Steven because he was a Slytherin. They accepted Danielle because she's a Slytherin. But, whatever. Ignore the Gryffindors. We get it. Mm-hmm. They had a really cool show that they did before the light show at the castle. Yeah. But a lot of people were visiting Hagrid's monster book. Yeah. Lots of people were riding his ride. Wands went up. It was a hard time to be there because of so much things being reminded, but it was the best time as well because it was a way to remember everything he brought to that character. And in his words, correct me if the words are probably misjumbled, but in his words, when he did the special, he said, 50 years from now, I won't be here, but Hagrid will for future generations. Mm-hmm. And that's just not only shows the type of person he was, but the effort and love he put into Hagrid for all of us. Well, and my sons are going to grow up with Hagrid and know who Hagrid is, and they do. And hopefully their kids and people's kids get to grow up with that and enjoy him. So I did want to touch on that. We got kind of a special moment and a bonding. Yeah. Into our Harry Potter life of being there when that happened.
And we got to go on the Hagrid ride.
And we got to go on the Hagrid night. The night it happened.
The next day.
The next day was in the next... Yes, because we decided to go back and...
Go to Leaky Cauldron.
Go to Leaky Cauldron and enjoy breakfast. Then we got to get on the Hagrid ride. They placed flowers on the ride shortly after that. Mm-hmm. So it was really just nice to relive everything. So, didn't want to miss the opportunity to say, rest in peace, Robbie Aldrin, and I call him Hagrid. That's just my Hagrid. That's what we do.
It's sort of like Alec Bregman. Everyone's gonna know him.
It's actually pretty bad. Chris and I went to go watch a movie, and he popped up, and I was not aware he was in this movie. 100% honest, wasn't aware he was in this movie, and I was like, oh, it's Hagrid, but it's not Hagrid. It's actually the actor being a different character that's different than Hagrid. So it's just, it is going to happen. And that's the same thing when you watch Harry Potter and Alan Rickman is there and you see him in other movies and you're like, man, these characters and people just got taken so early. And Mrs. Malfoy, I call her Mrs. Malfoy, but like Malfoy's mom. And it's just, you're watching other things and it's just like, dang, this is rough. And what's hard is, the lady that's the oldest character, oldest person, besides the person that played Dumbledore, Maggie Smith, McGonagall. God bless her that she's still with us. Because when that happens, it's going to be rough. Because she fought cancer through the whole thing. So... But that was a special thing that I did want to mention that, yes, we're talking about Halloween Horror Nights, but we got to be there during that special time of sad time, but a special time. So.
And then we'll just hit this real quick is you got to do, because on the trip, you got to do Animal Kingdom and I got to do Hollywood Horror Nights. I got to do Hollywood Studios. And here's the funny thing is she had a magical day at Animal Kingdom. I'm so glad because I love that I got hit with the bad luck.
It's because I wasn't there. And you can't say it's not.
No,
because Danielle has flat out said, she was like, I've gone to Disney with my kids and friends and my family. And I don't know what happens if a light in Disney goes, "Ooh, previous cast member has arrived. Shoot the magic up." But you guys, all of our Disney Plus worked. We got extra Disney Plus. We got characters that we were not supposed to get to see, and we got extra characters. So, we were on top of it. No rain. Weather was immaculate. Walked straight into Rainforest Cafe. Didn't have to have a reservation. They immediately sat us.
Yeah.
Got into the gift shops, and they had all my sizes that I needed. I'm telling you, the only thing I missed out luck-wise was the pins, and that's because I forgot to bring I'm gonna be honest, I was lazy and too freaking tired to go get the pins from him, but we were trying to get there right when it opened to get stuff done, which good thing we did. But yeah, Danielle's like, "What in the world? You emulate this Disney magic," and Danielle's like, "That's the best time I've had." Just seeing it from someone that worked there, and I don't know if I would have done this in front of him. I don't think, and I think you'd understand when I say this, or back me up. I don't think I would have had that reaction with the kids around.
No, because or
mom and dad around.
You've been more focused on the kids.
Yeah.
And
I don't even think being with Chris, I would have had that reaction because
he would have laughed at you.
He would have laughed at me. He kind of laughed at me anyways when I sent Danielle sent the video, because I don't know, he might have been able to see it too and been like, "Dang, it really like." But you guys, I walked into Animal Kingdom and got not even 100 feet into the thing, and I started crying. And it sounds silly, but you got to understand, Animal Kingdom was the reason for me going to zoology and education.
Yeah.
So Animal Kingdom just tied into all that. Now, I'm going to be honest, because he knows this. I was jealous that he was going to Hollywood Studios, because Hollywood Studios, besides Animal Kingdom, is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I love Hollywood Studios, like everything about it. I love Tower of Terror. I love everything. And I was like, man, you get to go to, because it was sold out.
Yeah.
Epcot and Animal were the only things available. But he got the shit poured on him at Hollywood Studios.
I must say this because it's been 12 years, I think. Has it been 12 years, I think, since we went there?
Yeah, so I know the exact time. So it was 12 years since we've been there in the exact same time frame, because we did October. So it had been 14 years since I had been in costume. At Disney.
It changed a lot. So first off, they took out they took out the Sorcerer Mercury hat, which that was one of my favorite things to take a photo in. They changed a lot of rides. So they took out the magic ride, the
Great Escape, Great Movie Escape.
Yep. And then they took out the backlot. If they had it, I didn't see it, but they took out the backlot tour. I might have missed it. I did not see the area where you did the drawing with the. I probably missed it.
You might not have missed it because they redid Pixar Land and all of that was supposed to go right there.
Yeah. So they took out a lot of the Pixar Land and made all Toy Story. So if you are a huge Toy Story fanatic, great place to go. But Pixar, no sorry. So they need to renovate it. And I know they just put all that money adding so much onto it. They need to add more
or they need to take out things that were phased out.
Yeah.
Because even I said Indiana Jones needs to bite the dust. You could have kept Great Movie Ride and let Indiana Jones bite the dust. That's how I felt about it.
But yeah, so I was happy I got to go to the Star Wars.
Yeah, but you got what on? He got poured on.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad your day at Disney went so well. Look at mine. I was like,
oh, it was pouring. I mean, I can handle rain. I've worked in rain. That was a true downpour. I felt like I was stuck in a shower, and I was like, well, screw this. I was like, I'm gonna go see if I can find somewhere to eat. Every restaurant was booked. was like, well, fuck. I was like, how better the wait lines? Well, everything's it. Oh, ride's closed. Oh, right. It's like, well, can't do anything there. So I literally wasted an hour almost because of the rain. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go over to the Star Wars area. See, I'm going to go to the photo, see if I can get photo ops with the Star Wars. I'm so glad I did. At least I got to take pictures with 3 characters.
Yeah.
That was fun. But if you're a Star Wars fan, great place to go. Please, if you are listening to this podcast, do what I didn't. Make sure you reserve your time to build a lightsaber. My dumbass didn't think, it's a Monday. It ain't going to be busy. I can sit here and get in and do it. Yeah. You need a reservation for everything at Disney. You need a reservation for restaurants. To take. I didn't get a don't sit there.
Just go with your sister and I'll just walk straight in.
I could not get a restaurant reservation because I was by myself. Yeah, even with 2 people, they weren't taking reservations because I tried.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just make sure you have reservations. Plan out your day. That's honestly my biggest thing. Plan out your day. If you're going to Disney, make sure you have Disney Plus. Even if you're not going to use the Genie thing.
It's not Disney Plus. Genie Plus.
Genie, sorry. Make sure you have Disney Genie. Even if you're not going to use the Genie Plus on it, make sure you can sit there and use it to plan out your day. Because it'll help.
Yeah, and it did. I mean, that helped me in being able to plan.
I wasn't smart enough and didn't use it early enough to do it, so it backfired. But
it's live and learn, and it's a good thing that people are like, we got to live and learn. Like, there's things, even this, like, certain things at Animal Kingdom, I was like, and I walked by the Pandora area because I didn't go on the rides because the rides were ridiculous, and we were not waiting for a Genie Plus time slot to open for that.
Mm-hmm.
I was just fine with the way Animal Kingdom was. You could skip the Pandora area, people. Not that exciting.
I skipped Slinky Dog and I skipped Tower Terror, which I'm upset. I did skip Tower Terror, but
because it bulks on you.
So when I went over there, I was at a 70-minute wait already, and that was right when the park opened. Only one side was working. It's like, well, I'll sit here and use my thing for Star Wars. So I did that. Go over there, come back to go to Tower Terror to do it. Choose my second time. Ride's closed. I was like, well, okay, I guess I'll use this for Star Tours because it's at an 80-minute wait. Use it there. Go to use it for my last one. Hour 40-minute wait. All reservations taken. So I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, so then get one of my favorite rides because one, it closed twice during the day. I got hit with delays a lot. So
you dispatched a delay into my airplane because I had to sit out on the tarmac for.
Yeah. So, just make sure you plan your trip. I mean, that's honestly
Universal. You don't need to per se
if you're
plan the rides, but I would have a good plan of like, I'm sticking to this park.
Yeah.
And this is what we're knocking out before we go to another park.
Because that's what I did my last day. I went straight to Island Adventure because I wanted to. It says like I'm gonna get on the Hulk. That's one of my favorite rides. Get on it. Get on it. It's like, oh, single rider, awesome. No wait, get up front. No, maybe 3 minutes. Sit there, front row. Which I don't think I've ever rode that roller coaster front row.
I don't remember if I have.
So I was like, oh my god, awesome. Sat there. They pull up next in line. They take the people off, and they sit there like, we are sorry. Ride is currently being delayed. I was like, okay. And they said, this will be a short delay. After 30 minutes, this ride is currently closed. We do not know when we will have this. I was like, I sat there. I went down. I went to a person. I was like, hey, I just waited 30 minutes in this dang ride. I was next on front row. Can I please get something to sit there and get a voucher to come back on, like a Union Express pass? It's like, no, but I was next in line, and I just waited 30 minutes, and they told me the ride's closed. Well, we can't do anything for you. I sat there, and I said, that is a BS, and what a great way to treat your effing guys. I was pissed. I'm sorry, I'm not. And he just shrugged. He was like, I can't do anything for you. I was like, okay, well, that's just great. It makes me sort of not want to come here.
Yeah.
So I went over. I got on Velocicoaster, though, real quick. That was fun. I got to do that one, and I went on Forbidden. No, I didn't. So I took the train over to Universal. Did a few more rides over there. I did learn the Rock and Roller Coaster.
The Rocket.
Rock and Roll. I'm thinking of
that ride messed me up before getting on that airplane.
Yeah, it's a fun ride. It's a fun, but it is very rough. I wish they would sit there and change the thing. I think what happens is they do it as a lap bar. It does not secure your neck area well enough. So when you're throwing your neck around so much,
even when you're trying to do this to keep it.
Yeah, if you follow their instruction, it still throws your. And I noticed down Velocicoaster because I went on Velocicoaster twice. Velocicoaster was a lot more comfortable, but yeah. I learned the tricks. I got to listen to 2 songs that are not on the playlist. So one was a hidden Halloween Horror Night song, which was 666. It was Chucky's theme song, and he sits there and talks to you during the ride, and it was fun.
So speaking of Chucky, you've got this pulled open.
So I'm up show, and I don't know, but yes. So I pulled this open because I know you haven't seen this because you
don't like Chucky.
You don't like Chucky. You don't get.
I took that picture thingy with Danielle because Lily dressed up as Chucky for Halloween.
So this is I'm gonna turn the volume up so hopefully it doesn't feedback too bad. But
Wanna play?
No, thank you.
Yeah, that's right. I'm back. And I'll see you suckers at Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights next year.
An all-new haunted house inspired by the hit USA sci-fi series Chucky is coming in 2023 to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Orlando Resort and Universal Studios Hollywood.
I can't wait to play.
Interesting. So they have never done that.
That's what I wanted to start talking about. Because I didn't know if we were going to possibly talk about houses we maybe want to see in the future or anything. So I sat there and I was like, oh, well, hey, look at this. And I found it funny. I was like, that was literally released the day of Halloween. They released us. I was like, I don't think they've ever announced a house that
No, because remember, you were hesitating going because they hadn't announced any houses but like 1 or 2.
It was the only house they announced was the Universal Monsters.
And I mean, it was a great house, but that's interesting that they announced that early. So now I'm crossing fingers. Not that we're going next year. We'll see. We don't never know what's going on around here. We just go with the flow. I'm not in charge. I just do what I'm told.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yeah.
Yep, that's how it goes. But good. I'm glad they introduced it. So, guys, if you are interested in Halloween Horror Nights, maybe next year, Chucky will be a house, which is pretty awesome. But it is coming up on about 1 hour and 15 minutes, which I think this is my longest one. So a lot of that was technical difficulties. So I do apologize for that. I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. Steven, again, thank you for joining me. We'll come back for Harry Potter stuff. So we can dive all into that. And do you have anything else you want to close with?
Nothing.
I know you're getting ready for no more spooky season. What are you getting ready for? Because it's already outside. And you guys, if you can see my face, I'm gonna just bring it up. I do not like. I don't want to say I don't like Christmas because my children might hear me. I'm not a big fan of Christmas, and it's November 2nd, and he's got Santa Claus and reindeers sitting outside this house with red and white bulbs. It is November 2nd. Let the turkey have its day.
I have to go back to work. I took a long vacation.
True. I will give you the credit that you have to go back to work. But let the turkey have its day.
I'm trying to get as much.
I'm that person, you guys. I'm all about like, let the turkey have its day, and then you can blow up Christmas, okay?
I mean, I'm not the biggest Christmas fan. I only have, 2 or 3 Christmas things in here, so don't be too.
I'm the Grinch.
I mean, I got what's called silent.
And my heart doesn't grow 2 sizes for Christmas.
He had a heart condition. That's not fun to make fun. Nice to make fun of. Which they are making a Grinch horror film like they did Winnie the Pooh.
Oh,
it's
Winnie the Pooh has a horror film.
It's called Winnie the Pooh: Blood and Honey.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
They eat Eeyore in it.
No, that's That's enough. Okay, we don't mess with. No, that's wrong.
Yeah, they're
And
making
before I sneeze, all right, we're gonna sign off. I'll bring you back for Harry Potter. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I don't know who's gonna be on next. It might be me by myself again. Could be Chris. Could be Keith. Could be Marie. Ew. Gross. See, this is brother. He's throwing his water at me now. Could be my mom because she loves Christmas. Could bring her on to talk about Christmas. I don't know if I'll ever get Dad on here, so we'll see.
I told him that you're coming over to do the podcast with him tonight. He laughed.
Yeah, he knows better. I'm gonna have to schmooze him. Would you like to be on a podcast? I might have better luck getting Danielle on a FaceTime doing a podcast.
You might have to do a YouTube on it. That might be, you just might have to do one where it's like
that might work though.
You might have to put like a stand in or something. Put a Santa Claus that one Santa Claus.
Black it out. Yeah. This is my.
He does not do photos or video.
And so, but I don't know. I don't know who's coming on next. That's what's always fun. And hopefully it will not be as long as the wait as last time. The videos wouldn't load, the audio wouldn't load, and we had technical difficulties with the internet. So we have learned technical difficulties with the videos already, and we don't know what else is gonna happen. So bear with me. Thanks for tuning in on this one, because we don't scare yourself. I don't know. Do a hashtag with the don't scare yourself. Never go alone. There you go. Never go alone. Thanks again, Steven.
Yeah.
I'll let you sign out and then I'll say my final goodbyes.
Bye.
Have a peachy life. Do it.
Hi there, pals. How you doing today? I can't do I have to warm it up. I used to be able to make you very well.
All right. So, as always, have a peachy life. Thanks.